And there we go. So I think we're officially live now. So welcome back to the YouTube channel, everybody. Today I have the lovely Lara and Chloe from Crezco. They're going to speak to us all about the software app, what it can do. We're going to have a live demo first, and then we're going to go through any questions, comments that anybody's got as we're going along. So I'm just going to jump straight into it and hand the reins over to the lovely Lara. So go ahead.
Hello, thank you, Rebecca, so much for having me. I'm very excited. If you guys can't tell, great. So what I'm gonna do is start sharing my screen. Let me grab that for everyone, and we will get cracking. Great. All right, so you should be able to see my screen. Again, my name's Lara. I am a customer success manager here at Crezco, and I'm sure as you are wondering now, who's Crezco? So I'm going to tell you. Great. On this webinar today, we're just going to talk about who Crezco is, how does it work, and then some of our features that we currently offer on our platform. So that's going to be accounts receivables, account payables, international payments, as well as any sort of custom branding that you're looking for. And then at the end of this webinar, we will host a Q&A session where you can ask any questions, and we will be more than happy to answer them.
Perfect.
Right. Because there'll be lots of fun questions.
Yeah,
but okay, who's Crezco? First of all, the name Crezco came from the name I grow in Spanish. We are a payment solution that uses account-to-account transactions to process your payments. So this would look like if you sent someone an invoice and they're like, oh, I want to pay you from their Barclays account, we're then the messenger that sends, hey Barclays, you need to send this money over to this Lloyd's account. So that's kind of like how the transactions work with Crezco. And the reason why we created this payment solution is we had the intention of positively impacting the economy by making payments frictionless and easy. So this will help you get paid a lot quicker without as much like stress or delay with those payments coming into your account. So that's why Crezco was created. Just to go over some of the benefits that you would probably incur when using Crezco is Crezco offers an instant and secure all-in-one payment solution. So as I mentioned, you would be able to do accounts receivables, international payments, and even accounts payables on our platform. There's automatic reconciliation, so this helps with accountants and bookkeepers, or even customers when you're invoicing through your favorite accounting software platform, for example, Xero. Once that payment has hit your bank account, we would help automatically reconcile that within your accounting software. Then, obviously, the third benefit is integrating with accounting and HR software. Fourth one is one login for you to be able to access your clients' accounts that you create within Crezco. So you won't have to remember multiple different passwords for specific clients. It's just one password and you'll be able to access all your clients' profiles. And then finally, we do offer a partner program for accountants and bookkeepers, which I'm briefly going to go over.
Excellent.
Yes. Great. Okay, so briefly going over our partner program, the reason why we created it is we understand and want to acknowledge the impact that a lot of accountants and bookkeepers have, and that's bringing our customers and clients to use us if it's a great fit. So that's why we kind of created this partner program, is just to show our appreciation. So for example, to enter into the first tier, you would need 5+ active clients using Crezco. Or as we acknowledge, like sometimes bookkeepers or accountants don't have 5+ clients that might be a good match for Crezco. So if you process 100+ payments on our platform, you'll still be able to get into our first tier of the partner program, which is great.
Yeah, that's
and yeah,
added flexibility there. That's really good.
Yeah, and because like it's not fair, we want to make sure that everybody's included in this. Just because like it might not be a good fit for a couple of your clients, we still think that you should benefit from using our platform and bringing whoever you can. And if you refer someone, so say for example you refer an accountant or bookkeeper, that referral will count towards like those 5+ clients, right? So whether it's referrals or your customers and clients, we do keep track of that. So then like with this partner program, we want to positively impact the economy around us, but also the environment. So whenever you enter into these tiers, we plant trees for you on your behalf. And we have a cute little virtual forest that you can keep track of these trees that we plant for you. Yeah, so you can see kind of like how far they've grown, what species we planted, and even like where we planted it. Quite a few are being planted in Madagascar and Kenya, so it's pretty cool.
That's amazing. That's actually. Oh wow.
Yeah. So you'll get like a link to that, so you'd be able to keep track of your little bundle of trees that we plant for you, and all that fun business. And then like also little gifts, like we send off cacti, a personal note welcoming you to like the budding partner tier, and then little bits and bobs like caps or notebooks and stuff like that. Stuff that we love and we use on an everyday basis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's our partner program. We also have a recording of our partner program webinar. So, Rebecca, if anybody's interested, I can send you the link on where to find that on our website, and you can watch that if you have any additional questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm just excited to see all of this, how it's pulls together. If you've ever tried using just general banking for making foreign payments abroad, you'll understand the pain and the additional admin time it takes to reconcile, as you say, in your system, etc. So, yeah, I'm excited to see the rest.
International payments is probably one of the coolest, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm excited. But great. Okay, so then, as we mentioned on this webinar, I'm kind of walk you through like our platform and all those different features that we offer. So I'm going to start with how to create an account with Crezco, how to raise an invoice, whether that's within the Crezco platform or using an accounting software, and then we can go from there. Great. So again, just some of the features that we're going to go over is accounts receivables, which you're able to integrate with your favorite accounting software. Basically with this, when you invoice a customer or client, there is a pay now button that has been added that has a Crezco payment link embedded in that. So then once they click on that, they'll see, like, we'll pre-populate the amount that the invoice is for, and then your customer or client will be able to click confirm and submit that payment over to you. Then accounts payable, which is like the ability to batch pay domestic or international suppliers or employees. And I'll show you kind of like how that whole process works because it's pretty cool. And then finally, the one Rebecca is super keen on is our international payments. And I'll give you a live demo of like making an international payment over to the US, because obviously I speak a little funny. And I have a US account, so I can show you guys how that works.
I think that on the batch payment side, again, if you're somebody who's running your own business but is, acting as an outsourced service function for a business, and you're being asked to make payments on their behalf, etc., in the bank, or you're having to gain authorization for batch payments, etc., this again can shorten that admin time spent on this entire process. So yeah, it's definitely one to watch.
Yes, very excited. And if you do have any questions during that demo, definitely just drop us a question and we'll answer them. Great. Okay. Well, that is let me move back there. And now you get to see and be razzle dazzled by the Crezco platform. Great. Okay. So once you've created your Crezco account, you can do that whether that's through Xero, QuickBooks, or just going to our website and clicking create an account. Once you have connected your bank account to your Crezco account, this is a page that you're going to see. So here you'll be able to track payments that are coming in. So you'll be able to see the invoices that have been paid, when that's been paid, reference, so on and so forth. So this is a very nice like landing page where you can kind of just keep a close eye on those payment links that are being sent out. Now, for accountants and bookkeepers, I'm sure if one of your clients or customers are a good match for Crezco, whether they use invoicing, you process payroll for them, or international payments, it's very easy to onboard them. Basically, what you want to do is here in your Crezco platform, you'll see this is your profile. what you would just need to do is in the bottom left-hand corner where you see your company name, you're going to go ahead and click that. As you can see, I love creating organizations, so I have a very long list, but for you that just onboarded with us, you only have one. So I will scroll down my very long list, and basically what you're going to do is you're just going to click New Organization. Here, you're going to go ahead and enter in your company's name. So we'll do Lara demo account. Great. So then once I hit create, it's going to take you to a loading page. And now here in the left-hand corner, if you just want to make sure that you are in that new organization, you should be able to see that new company name here in the bottom left-hand corner. So now this organization has been created. If you want your customer or client to basically become a member or invite them to be able to manage their Crezco profile, it's very easy to add them. All you have to do is go ahead here and click members, enter in their email address. So I will just enter in my personal email address, and then you'll click invite user. Now, with this, you want to make sure that you edit their user role to be like an administrator or owner, just because this is where you have the maximum amount of permissions within this organization. When it comes to the role of user or accountant, it's a little bit more limited, just to take into consideration any junior employees that you want to add to Crezco but not have as many capabilities as like the administrator or owner. So I typically just make them owner. And save changes. So then basically what will happen, and I typically say you might want to send out an email to your customer or client just letting them know that you'll create this organization for them, is because they'll get an email from Crezco saying, hey, you've been invited to join Lara demo account. Please confirm your profile. So they'll just click on a Crezco green button in that email and then join this organization. Now, with some accountants and bookkeepers, I do understand that some of you do have access to your customers or clients' bank accounts, and sometimes you don't. But either way, what you want to do is connect that bank account, because as you can see here, it is now blank. So it's just going to ask you to connect your bank account to Crezco, because this will help us send the money to the right place. So whether that's you or your client that can connect that bank account, you just want to make sure you do so before you're able to proceed forward.
And if it was me, I would ask the client to do that.
Yeah. So it's like completely up to you and like your clients and how you guys work, but definitely your client can do that. And then once they do that, like I mentioned, we integrate with accounting software. So with that integration, Rebecca, I don't know if like you'd be like, okay, cool, I'll take this from here and configure that integration for them.
Yeah, I'd say so. Just because of that insurance, etc. So on the banking side, I would ask them to connect that data for me, and then in terms of linking other softwares with Xero, etc., or QuickBooks or whatever it is that you're using, that would be more my role in setting this up.
Yeah. No, brilliant. Yeah, because we have accountants that say, hey, like, please just make sure you let us know when you've connected your bank account so that I can configure the integration for them. Because once you have that connection, let me go back to my other account. Once you have that bank account connected, you just go to integrations on the left-hand side. And then as you can see, excuse me, I don't currently have any connected integrations. So all you'd want to do for that customer once they've connected their bank account is just go here, and then you can see all the integrations that we offer. And then you just want to click connect to Xero or connect to QuickBooks, whichever one is applicable. So pretty easy, straightforward, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. And I do apologize for my coughing, just a little sick.
Don't worry.
No, yeah.
It's very clear, isn't it? And I think I must have said this 100 times at this point in the last few days, but I prefer software that is easy to use and clear, because when you are working, whether you're working for a practice or you're working for yourself, you don't necessarily have the time to spend to learn very complicated systems. So to have it there in front of you, easy to use, easy for your client, win-win.
Yeah, and so would you say for like any, whether you're creating your app stack, like a new accounting practice, would you say that typically user-friendly platforms is something that you're specifically looking for just because it saves you time?
Yeah, so if I was to start afresh tomorrow, I would
Yeah.
I would search for something that had a high recommendation, and then I would
Mhm.
search on my own to say, is this applicable to my client, etc. But I'd have a look at demonstrations, and then my next highest point on my listing would be how much support do they have. So do they have other demonstrations, YouTube videos? Is there a support page? Can you raise tickets? All the rest
Mhm.
of it, which I know you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get all those tickets and I'm like typing like mad because it's cause yeah, people it's reach out for help and we're always here. Because I think that's one of the worst things is when you're not able to get the help that you need just because you're trying to run your business and you're just like, I'm confused or like I need help. And it takes them a while because you're obviously trying to get stuff done, right?
That's it. That's it. So having that support there is massive, because if you've ever
Yeah.
made the mistake of going down the route with a software provider where there is
Yeah.
no support or very
Yeah.
limited, or a week turnaround on a ticket,
Yeah.
things like that, it's so frustrating. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I hope you haven't been through that, but it kind of sounds like you have.
yeah, I've been there.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry on your behalf. I'm sorry. It's terrible. Oh, no shame. But yeah, I mean, super easy and like again, super easy to like get a hold of us. You can submit tickets. We have online chat. You can call us as well. Like pretty easy to get a hold of us, quite honestly. Just because we are like very customer centric focused and all about the experience and just making sure it's saving you time and not causing you a headache. That's literally why we created Crezco. But yeah, so that's how you onboard your clients or customers. And if you have any additional questions on that process, you can definitely reach out to us, and we would be more than happy to help you. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like the basis of our platform. And now we can move into a little bit of accounts receivables, which I think is the initial thing that caught your eye, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So again, just from prior experience and headaches that I've had, where
Mm-hmm.
yes, you're making a bank payment to somebody, or receipt, etc. But
Mm-hmm.
you happen to go into the bank to do that. You happen to also raise a bank's approval to be signed and to be approved, etc. Then you're actually making the payment. Then you're going back and taking that bank's report and reconciling it in Xero or QuickBooks, Free Agent, whatever system you're using. And every single step that you have there is taking time. And
Yeah.
some of the rules, particularly around banking, you're not going to want a junior member of staff to be looking at. So you're going to, as a manager, whether you work in practice or again work for yourself, you're going to
Yeah.
spend a long time around the cash process for clients to make sure it's
Yeah.
right. So all of this, I'm not going to spoil it because
Well, uh-huh.
I'm gonna let you
Yeah.
showcase this to us. But I think it's fantastic. So yeah,
Yeah.
let's take a look.
Brilliant. Okay, great. So, what I'll do here quickly is we know that some customers or clients might not use an accounting software. So being able to create a payment link to use Crezco as a payment solution for your customer or client is still available, even if you don't use like Xero, QuickBooks, whatever. You do have that capability of coming into Crezco and really easily making that payment link. So I'm just going to quickly walk you guys through how to make that payment link within Crezco, and then we use integrate with Xero. So then I will quickly show you from start to finish what it looks like after you've integrated with Xero and your Crezco account, what it looks to raise the invoice, send the invoice to your customer, and then what your customer experience is once they reach that, like once they get that email notification for that invoice. So we'll start out here. The payment type is going to be single payment. So once this person submits the payment, that's them done, purchased. So with the payment details, you do have the ability to add multiple different bank accounts within your Crezco account, but you will want to be very specific on which account you want this payment to go to. So I'm just going to select Barclays, for example, and then the fixed payment amount is going to be what you're invoicing them for, whether we have builders and plumbers and construction marketing people as well that use our platform. So you can just enter in the invoice amount that you're sending them to and go ahead and enter that in. For the reference, typically what I recommend is putting in a reference that helps you easily track the payments that are coming through, whether you keep track of your customers or clients via number, or if it's just by like their first and last name or company name, whatever. This reference is what's going to show up in your bank statement. So when you get that 100 quid, when I enter in Lara test, that's the reference that's going to show up on that bank statement. So it's really easy to like keep track of which payments you have received. You do get email notifications once a payment has been processed into your account. But when you're looking at your bank statement, you won't be confused by just random numbers and codes. So we'll go ahead and click next step. Here, the single use, so once the user has clicked on this payment link and submitted the payment, you can no longer send this link to anyone else, which is totally fine. Here, you'll see a link preview, so you'll see the amount in which this payment link is for. If everything looks good, you'd go ahead and click Create Payment Link. Now, so for some of your customers or clients, if they're like a plumber or a construction worker, typically we find like people that like plumbers, for example, if they are at their client's house and they're like, hey, I just finished the job, and they created a payment link like this in Crezco, what they can do is just hold up their phone, and the customer or client that they were helping with scans a QR code on their phone and can just automatically pay that way. So with scanning this QR code, it will take them to their mobile banking app where they can submit that payment. Or the second option is if they just send those invoices at the end of the day, they can just copy this payment link like this, put it in an email, say, hey, this is your invoice, and then here they'll be able to see who they're paying, how much they're paying, and as Rebecca says, we make those backs payments a lot more user-friendly, where all your information is pre-populated right here. So there's no room for like any sort of fat finger mistakes or like multiple emails being like, hey, like, is this the right code? Because everyone's like, is this right? I do it. I'm like, is this right? Because you don't want to send it to the wrong place, right?
Yeah, and if you've ever, I don't know, I always say this now, but I feel like I started off my career in the dark ages of accounting where everything was paper based.
No.
And trying to go back, if you've got, employees to pay or
Yeah.
massive sales invoices with multiple line items,
Yeah.
I am paranoid because of past experiences. So I must check, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times to make sure have I got the right sort code, have I got the right account number, etc. When you're doing manual banking. So again, admin time saved, and there's no potential issue or error with inputting that data.
Yeah, and now you sleep easier, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, no, that's good. And as you can see, so usually we have our Crezco logo up here in the top left-hand corner. Look, there's a picture of me. And then usually we have a forest green, but we also offer this feature that I mentioned, custom branding. So what you can do is you can subscribe to the custom branding, and if you want to spread like brand awareness for your company, you can literally just put in your logo right here in the top left hand corner or upload that logo. So then when your customers or clients click on that payment link, this is what they'll see. They'll see your logo and like whatever company colors you have. So that's just a cool little nugget there. But yes, a very fuchsia pink I selected for this. So this is what the customer will see once they click on that payment link, and then they go ahead and click confirm. Because I have bank accounts, it automatically pulls this up, but for most of those clients, this is what they'll see. They'll be able to select which bank they want to make that payment from. So I use Lloyd's, personal, and then just click confirm, and if they're on their phone, it automatically takes them to their mobile banking app, but because I'm on my desktop, it gives me a couple options. But I'll show you what a payment looks like, but this is kind of like what a payment link looks like when you generate it within Crezco, which is really fun. Perfect. Okay, so now for the bookkeepers and accountants, I'm going to show you what it looks like to raise an invoice in Xero, and then the user experience of paying that invoice. So
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and go to business, click there, invoices. As you can see, we're very passionate about making lots of invoices. I'm going to go ahead and send it to myself. Right there.
This makes me so happy to see.
You're just like, oh, I'm so glad. We'll do Lara test again. Test payment. Perfect. And then we'll do a shirt, and I'm just going to do like 12B, but obviously people like to invoice more than I do. Great. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and approve it. So now if you want to make sure that when you've just created your Crezco account and connected it to Xero, a good place to double check just to make sure that connection is active and live is once you've approved an invoice, right here under online payments, you should see a Crezco. If you don't, you just click manage and then go ahead and select Crezco as that payment solution.
Yeah.
So this is what you're going to see. As you can see, it is awaiting payment. So now I would have gotten an email with that invoice information. But what I'm going to do quickly is I'm just going to share an invoice and then copy that link and open it in a new tab. So once you click on the Pay Now button in that email that the customer receives, this is a page that they're taken to. Really straightforward. Here you can see how much they owe, who they're paying, and they're like, cool, looks good. We're going to go ahead and click Pay Online. And then here's where they're automatically relocated to a Crezco payment page. And as you can see, here's the Crezco logo with the Crezco colors. But again, they'll be able to see who they're paying, how much they're paying you, and reference, again, account information that's pre-populated so they don't have to stress that they're sending it to the wrong place. So if everything looks good, they'd go ahead and click confirm. Again, I would select a new account, so I'm going to do Lloyd's. Personal, click confirm. And then here, just for the purpose of this, I'm going to go ahead and grab it on my phone with the QR code. There we go. Great, so then on my phone, it might be a little blurred, but you'll see there's my Lloyd's app. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in my sensitive information. No peeking. Just and there we go. Okay. Great. So then it's very similar to like when you make online purchases or like order Deliveroo like I do. It's going to ask you to confirm the amount and say, are these the correct details? I'm going to go ahead and select the account in which I want to make that payment from. Go ahead and click continue and saying it is now saying the payment has been set up. Here on this screen, it's going to relocate me back to Crezco. You can see kind of like the timing. Cool. Payment in progress.
It's very quick.
Yeah. And payment has been initiated. So now I'll get an email notification saying, hey, you've sent a payment to this person. It's kind of like a receipt as well, if you will. And as well as Ralph, who luckily got my money this time, he'll get an email notification letting him know that he got paid 12p. So here, if you go back to Xero, if I go ahead and refresh this page, you can see automatically it has now been updated to paid. So that's how quickly it works, is because again, it's the transactions with Crezco, because it's an account to account, and we're taking out all those third parties that process and move your money along for credit cards. We're taking all of those out, so that payment is instantaneous and that money will land in your account within seconds of them confirming it. So that kind of saves you a lot of time, and it frees up a lot of cash flow because you're receiving those funds almost instantly, and then you'll be able to purchase more things or pay your own bills or fun stuff like that. So that's basically how the invoice works. As you can see, it's been marked as paid. And then with reconciliation, I'll quickly show you what that looks like. I have lots to reconcile. I'm sorry. This is probably like the worst nightmare. I'll go to the end because it's probably right there.
Yeah.
Where is it? Let me see if I can do. We'll go back to this stuff. I wonder. It's gonna be so hard to find it. But because of so many reconciliations. But for example, just to save us time, basically what will happen is, so we do quite a few demos on this account. So as you can see here, for example, what would have happened is with that invoice that I raised in zero, you'll be able to see like the information, so transaction reference payment type to LA. So for that reference, it will say like Lara test payment. And this is your bank statement side, and you can see it automatically pulled that information from your bank to say, hey, this transaction matches up with this invoice that you just raised. So their two references will match each other, and they'll basically recognize each other. So you don't have to look through like I embarrassingly did to try and find the right one to reconcile. But basically it'll pull that information. So you're like, yep, looks good. And you click OK. You click confirm that you want to reconcile it, and that's it. Like you don't have to look for it. You don't have to plug in any information. We just automatically pull that stuff for you.
No, that's great. It's interesting that, you know, when they've got that the link to go ahead and pay, and you can do that via both the QR scan and also the link. If you're just using your mobile, which a lot of clients are these days, they don't tend to use desktop as much.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite a quick process for them. And in terms of cash is king, is what we say.
Yeah.
So making sure that clients are receiving amounts due from customers on a very quick basis, or one of the things we try and do is shorten the amount of time that it's going to take for a client to receive money, and so that sort of turnover.
Yeah.
This is going to again help that process. So it's quite interesting to see.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, like the best part. So again, like I mentioned in the beginning, and kind of like what we've discussed is like we're just trying to make payments frictionless and easy, and positively impact like the economy around us. So because we're taking out those third party like businesses that move the money to where it needs to go, obviously that's taking time to do that, so like 5 to 7 business days.
Yeah.
And that's not even taking into consideration the person actually submitting the payment, which in an ideal world would be like, I just got invoiced, I'm gonna pay right now. You typically have to like wait a little bit for them to submit that payment, and then on top of that, it's waiting those additional days for the money to move along to where it needs to go.
But there's also the added element that if you're making any kind of transactions abroad, and I've had this situation before where you ring the bank because you're expecting that money to go in on a certain day. It's not. And then you ring them, they don't know, so they put you in contact with the other bank at the other end of the world to find out where this payment has gone. And a lot of the time, all they can tell you is it's been sent. That's it.
And then you're just like sick.
Yeah, like thanks for that. So is it tomorrow? Is it another 5 days? What's going to happen? So again, in terms of just the cash flow, if you're dealing with a business, or you are the business where you have very, very tight cash restrictions, or you know you just got a shortfall in a particular month, you're going to want to keep on track of how much is coming in, when is it coming in, so that you can make the payments out on the right date, so that you're not in a tricky situation. So it's the whole side of it. And one thing we've not touched on yet, but that I know that you do, is if you are let's say you're not a business owner and you are not working in practice, you're an auditor. How many times as an auditor have you gone to check a foreign exchange currency translation and either found there's no information, or the client's not taking the right rate, etc., or they have no documented proof of a certain rate that can end up having a material impact on the accounts? But with this, for every transaction that's in a foreign currency, you do get an exchange rate, and you get an email with that information on there. So
Yeah.
you can always go back to that particular day to see the rate that has been used. So again, from just another complete different aspect, it's a very, very useful tool.
Yeah, let me actually show you guys quickly what that international payment would look like. So if you can tell, I do talk a little funny. I'm from the US. So I have a account in the US. So what I'll quickly show everyone is our international payment feature. Okay, so say for example, you have a customer in the US that you, or like supplier or employee, whoever, that you need to pay in the US. So what you basically do is add this person in as a contact within your Crezco account. You would enter in all their bank account details. Obviously, like as you're adding the contact, we'll ask for different information based off of the country in which you're trying to pay them. So like for the US, we'll ask for the ACH branch code, the account number, so on and so forth. So it's all very specific to that country that you're sending the money to. But for the example of this, I just raised a mock $10 bill that I need to pay. The cool thing about Crezco is it's kind of taking a lot of like the paranoia of like, am I sending them enough money out of the equation? Because basically what happens is once you've created this contact for this person, when you're creating a bill for them within Crezco, you can create a bill for the amount in the currency that you want to pay them. So what will happen, and what I did there is I raised a bill for myself for $10. So what happens now is no matter what, I will get $10 in my bank account. It's not gonna like, there's no hidden fees where it's just like, oh, sorry, we needed to take this. So there's only like $9.54 that landed in your account. There's no hidden fees there. And so that's the best part about kind of like my experience with starting to use Crezco, because I use it all the time now for this, for Crezco. But I don't have to second guess like how much money is actually going to land in their account. I know for sure that like $10 is what's going to land. So I'm going to go ahead and click Pay Now for myself. Here again, my cool little logo. I'll be able to see who I'm paying. So this is going to be the account name. This is my account name. And again, this is going to have my account information that we would be sending over. So I go ahead and click Confirm. Here on this page, you'll be able to see the transaction rate in which you're getting, so the exchange rate. So this is what's going to leave my account in order to make this $10 payment. We handle the exchange, everything. Obviously, the fees change based on how much you're sending. There's obviously minimum fees, but the bigger the bill that you pay, the fees will change, obviously. But you'll get a nice like little picture, kind of seeing what's going to leave your account and then the exchange rate. So if everything looks good to you, I'm going to go ahead and click Confirm. And again, if I was on my phone, it would automatically take me to Lloyd's. But for the purpose of this, because I'm on a desktop, you have two different options again to log in via desktop or the QR code. I'm going to go ahead and click QR code. Great. And again, here's my Pretty Lloyd's account. We'll just again confirm. So I always have to remember my memorable information, then I second guess myself. And I'm just like, what's it? Okay, great. So now in my account, I'm not sure if you can see, but it says the £8.93 that I got quoted. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yep, that looks great. I'm going to go ahead and click Continue. Payment is now being set up. So now it's going to log me back into Crezco. Again, this page is going to update and change. So now what happens is you can see that the payment has been initiated. The best part, and kind of like the reason why we created this international payments and the additional features that I'm just about to show you, is some accountants might have experience with this where their customers are kind of playing chicken with their suppliers, where they're just like, I ordered all these t-shirts and the money's coming, but can you send the t-shirts? And they're like, no, we haven't gotten the funds, or we don't know where the funds are. And so it's kind of like playing that game of chicken of like, oh, should we send the funds? And then the supplier being like, ooh, should we send the t-shirts or whatever they ordered? So the cool thing about this is when you're creating the contact in Crezco, if you enter in their email address, they'll get an email notification that the payment has been initiated. You'll also get a payment confirmation email saying you sent them. And the best part about this email is both of you will have access to this page right here, which shows you the payment status. So here, they'll be able to track where the money is. Because Rebecca, as you mentioned, like, it's kind of just like, well, I sent the money, I haven't gotten it, so then you need to reach out to someone else. And then typically, you just get the roundabout and you're like, okay, well, let's just hope it comes.
Yeah.
So here, everybody will be able to track it. So you'll be able to see, cool, set up the payment. We've received it. Your money's being converted. We are now paying out your USD. And typically with my experience with making these payments is it typically takes about less than 48 hours for the money to land into the account. Obviously, it could depend on like which currency, but with my experience, it's typically been about 48 business hours or less. So again, here you can keep track of that payment. And then I will wait a couple seconds for a payment notification email. Give me 1 second and I'll see if I can grab it really quickly. But as Rebecca said, with auditors, basically what happens is if you're getting audited, you need those receipts to show, oh, I sent this international payment, here's the exchange rate, so on and so forth. So with Crezco, with that email confirmation that you get, you'll be able to see the exchange rate. So here, let me go ahead and share my screen really quickly. So if everyone can see this, you'll be able to see here, international payment is in progress for Lara, transfer details, the amount you paid that left to your account, the exchange rate of like when you sent this, and also the fees that you incurred sending this payment. So for any audit purposes, you'd be able to keep track of this, and you would have access to be like, oh, here's the receipt, here's all that information. So that would definitely help, because then you scramble and you're like, I have no idea. So this should hopefully help based off of what Rebecca mentioned.
Yeah, and again, it's just all about whether you're working in bookkeeping, accounting, or working for somebody, or whatever it might be. If you are involved in a finance function in any shape or form, you need to have clarity over where figures are coming from, how they've been calculated, etc. So having it like this, again, it just saves so much time, even in the short term and long term. So
yeah, and I mean, there's like no subscription fees to this. Like, it's just like fees tacked on to that that invoice that you're paying. Obviously, with international, we do additional like company verification, just because that's what compliance requires. But with international payments, based off of your experience, how many steps do you think we're like kind of cutting out of the process? if you can even count.
So, right, bear in mind as well, if you're using a bank to make these payments abroad, it's you've got to go through about 8 different pages anyway on there just to get to the right place. And then when you do find the right place, you've then got all of the information. So the SWIFT number, etc. Is with it being foreign, have you chosen the right country that this individual's in, etc. You've got to check all of that. Then you might get to the page where you can actually input details, input invoice reference number, etc. Then you would print it, and then you would send it for somebody for approval. They would approve it, and then you can come back, and after they've approved everything, you then process that on your system. Then it's again approved actually in the bank itself. See, we're not even at a 0 yet. And then eventually, it'll hit the 0 bank feed, and you can reconcile. But again, there's a time delay between the bank feed in 0 sometimes and what you're doing. So if I was to summarize, I would say usually it can be up to an 8-stage process, particularly if you're doing this on a regular basis, and that doesn't involve checking the foreign currency rate, keeping a note of the currency rate, all the rest of it that goes with it. And you're effectively shaping that into probably a two-step process. So you inputting the data, adding the client's information, linking the bank, and then the actual payment of the invoice and everything else is sort of automated. So I could share horror stories of this. So I know how bad it can be where you are tracing things through a system, and again, particularly from the audit side. So it's a massive time saver, and as you say, it's clear. You can see everything that you need to see very quickly. They've got the option to select various different bank accounts, which again can be another issue in itself, because if those bank accounts, those particular bank suppliers are not available to be selected, you then have another problem on your hands. So
exactly.
You've got this big long list of things.
I
could go on for days about what you can say.
Payments are like, you're like, ah. No, I mean, talking from experience, like when I was moving over here, so one of the really cool things that I like about like how we've built international payments is we take your local currency and take that money out of your account with that local currency. But then when that payment is made and it lands in their account, it's in your recipient's local currency as well. Because like what happened when I sent money over here is I was like, oh yeah, I'll pay it in USD, totally fine, whatever. I got charged, I think it was like $45 by my bank to make that transaction. And then basically what happened is with the recipient, they got charged because they completely sent it over in USD. So then they charged the recipient to convert it into GBP. So we're kind of like taking that out, where there's no kind of like
there's ambiguity.
Yeah, of just like I don't know if they're gonna incur the cost or anything. It's complete like the costs are completely incurred on like the payer's side. Whoever is making that payment will like pay for like the international fees, or like the conversion. There's no hidden fees, as you can see like on the receipt. It shows you like how much like the service fee was. It was 50p.
I think
So there's no hidden fees, and like we dump it in your local currency, so you don't have to stress about any like unexpected fees that whether they or yourself incur.
there's the admin part of that though as well, because if you are reconciling again a trade debtors account or creditors account, and you have 3 or 4 payments that have been made in the bank, let's just say, because they've thought what they've done is enough, and then they've gone, no, I've been charged X, Y, and Z, so it's now not enough, and now I need to go through the whole process again and make another payment for it to be right. And then you're on the other side and you're reconciling things and you're thinking, flipping heck, I've got 5-6 different payments for this one person. And now if you're trying to trade on an international scale, you do that for 20 clients or so, and you're talking a lot of time, a lot of time, days.
It's insane. And with that again, it's just like hoping that the money gets there. When is it gonna get there? So I honestly think probably our international payments is probably like I think really one of the coolest, just because there's so many like small nuances that I feel like we took into consideration about the whole process, whether it is a person paying that invoice to the person receiving it. Just having such transparency around that payment being made, where it's at, like has it left their bank account, and when is it going to land in mine? So I like it. It's super fun.
If anyone has questions around any of that we've spoken about so far, I'll pop those in the comment section, or at the end Lara's going to show a contact email that you can get hold of her through too.
Yeah.
So any questions?
Yeah, and we have a great video of our CEO Ralph explaining our international payments, kind of like how it all works. So I can even send that to you, and anybody interested can ask you for the payment, not for the payment link, for the YouTube video link. I think they'll like it.
Send it through. I'll pop it in the comments, and then everybody's got access to that. But yeah, is there another area we need to cover?
Yeah, and then I think we have, so with international payments, we with our batch or our accounts payable solution as well, we've created a platform where you can now batch pay international payments. So for like multiple different employees in different countries with different currencies, with our batch payment feature, you can create a pay run with all those different bills and pay them with one click. So I'll show you guys. I don't have enough like international bank accounts to do that, but I'll show you the concept of like our accounts payable feature. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen one more time. Great. Okay, so let's go back to Crezco. Just one more page. Great. Okay, so you saw our accounts receivables page. This is our accounts payable, really easy to navigate between the two. With accounts payables, you might use that for payroll, supplier bills, and you might raise those bills or payroll in a different platform like BrightPay, MoneySoft, QuickBooks Zero. You're able to export those CSVs from those platforms and then just import them into Crezco. We are currently working on a Zero integration where by a click of a button you can import that information into Crezco instead of having to export a CSV and then re-importing it. But basically what you would do is you would import that CSV over here, just clicking this, dragging and dropping it, and then basically what will pop up once you've uploaded that CSV is it will pre-populate all that information in the CSV just for you to review it one more time to be like, is this information correct? And then basically once you hit confirm, that information will now land in this page. So here you'll be able to see each individual bill in which you have imported into Crezco that you need to pay. So for example, I'll kind of show you what running a payroll through Crezco would look like. So for these 6 employees, I have gone ahead and selected them like this, and selected to create a pay run. So let me delete the pay run really quickly and I'll kind of show you what that looks like. Super easy to delete stuff too. So here, now you see the status is ready to pay. Go ahead and click those names for the batch payment that I want to process. Here on the right hand side, you'll be able to see who I selected, and I'll go ahead and click create pay run. Here, you're just entering the pay run name, so I'll say for October payroll. If you have multiple accounts, again, you'll be able to select which one you want to make that payment from. I'm going to go ahead and select Barclays. And then we have the option for payment type. So you can do it immediately. A lot of experiences with running payroll is we typically hear that you have to upload it into an e-wallet to then be able to transfer it to your customers or clients. So with Crezco, you'd be able to immediately transfer those funds to your employees or suppliers instead of having to upload it into the e-wallet. Just to take into consideration, you do have to keep in mind your bank limitation for that day. Just to keep within that. So you have the immediate option, or the second one is you can actually schedule this payment for when you want it to go out. So say for example, you're going on a lovely vacation next week, but you want to make sure that you submit payroll to be paid out next week. So what you would go ahead and do is select, oh, I want to do scheduled, I want it to be paid out next week, Friday. So then you go ahead and select the date in which you want that payment to go through. You'd go ahead and click Save Your Payroll. And then here, under Pay Runs, it will now show. So this is a pay run that, excuse me, I'm wanting to process. So if you, or like, say you're a business owner running your payroll, or if you're an accountant preparing this for your client, you have 2 different options. You can either tell them to log into their Crezco account and check the October payroll, or the second option is you can just click copy payment link.
And that's really good.
Yeah, because then what that does, excuse me, what that does is then in an email you can say, hey, just click on this payment link. I need you to run payroll. Excuse me.
It's always the way when you try not to cough. You end up coughing more, don't you?
Sorry, guys.
Don't worry, honestly.
Terrible.
Really bad. I'm the one that did more of this cold last week, so it's now just spread.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, so once they click on that payment link, this is the page that they're taken to. Excuse me. So here they can see, like, again, that payment run information, and then the total amount that they're going to be paying. So for a payroll, it can be 20,000, 30,000, whatever. You'll be able to see the total amount in which you're paying, and then also everyone that is involved in that payroll and what they're going to be getting on that pay run. So if everything looks good to your customer or client, they can go ahead and click confirm. And then they would automatically be redirected to their Barclays account. For example, the one that you selected when you were creating that pay run. Unfortunately, I don't have a Barclays account, so I won't be able to log in. But as you can see, it was super easy on like creating that pay run for your customer to then just like click on that payment link, say, hey, that looks good. They go ahead and confirm it in their Barclays account. And then what happens is once they've confirmed it, here the status will say authorizing or in progress, because then on the day of the 25th in which you scheduled it, that payment will then go out. So if you see like in progress, that just means it hasn't been paid out yet, and that's purely because the payment date hasn't come. So that's kind of like how running payroll would look like. And then again, very similar to like if you wanted to do batch international payments to all your different suppliers, it would be a very similar experience where again you just select who you want to pay, create that pay run, and then there's one payment link that is created for all those bills that you want to pay in one go.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, and then so with the accounts payables, what do you think is like probably the best feature about it? Like, is it time saving? Kind of like how easy and user friendly it is?
Yeah, so again, if you're using other types of software, even your main piece of software to approve payments, firstly, sometimes that's time consuming. They don't get the email, etc., as I've seen many times before today. And secondly, you don't always have that option either. So you always then, in some cases, have to log in under the one user to see that data, which is frustrating because if you're trying to do other things at the same time, you can't. So this eliminates that issue. But also from the point of view of just, again, how easy it is, you can clearly see who it relates to. You can see the totals, etc. If you're happy, click confirm, fine, and then you can do your piece on your end. But it just means that you can easily offer those services of, you can make those payments on behalf of a client with their confirmation, but have a copy of that confirmation there, ready to go. So yeah, it's just again admin saving time around the whole process.
Yeah, no, and I agree because typically from the accountants and bookkeepers that we've spoken with, they're like, oh, we have a two-step verification, right? So what happens is you as an accountant can raise and create this pay run where you're checking that information and being like, yep, this looks right, but so you're kind of like the first defense of like verification, if you will. And then basically what happens is you can either tell your customer or client, hey, can you log into Crezco, check on your pay runs, I prepared October payroll for you, or you can again like just send that payment link to them and again in an email say like, hey, prepare this for you, just double check that information, and then if it looks good, confirm that payment. Because then on that page, again, they'll be able to see the total amount that's going to be taken out of their bank account, who's getting paid, how much they're getting paid, and even let me see if I'll go back to that page quickly, because the really cool part is they can look into it even further. So like again, this is the payroll, right? This is the total amount. If they're like, oh, he's Ben, one of our other customer success managers, he's a new employee, I just want to make sure everything looks right. So then you'd be able to see like his account number, sort code, everything like that. So you'd be able to again verify that information and just double check. So there's lots of different ways when going through this process of being able to verify that the information that has been inputted is correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's super, and again, like you'll get an email notification saying that payment's been initiated.
No, that's great. Because again, it's not, even when you get PDF printouts from the bank, they're so small when you read the account and sort code number, things like that. And if you're anything
Yeah.
like me, I'm short-sighted, so I actually can't see very well.
Yeah.
So I have to have like a magnifying glass effectively to see sometimes, and I'm like at the screen, like I can't see to just
Yeah, and
check
you're
the sort
like,
code.
yeah, and you're like, how far can I zoom in?
Yeah, that's it. So, but again, if you've got it on web browser in this way, you
Yeah.
can zoom in to your heart's content if you want to,
Yeah.
but it's very
Yeah.
clear for you to see. So, again, just the whole process is just far better.
No, I'm glad to hear. Yeah, I mean that's it for me really. Those are all our features, and I don't know, Rebecca, if there's any questions that have popped up.
I can't think of any because
Okay.
I think we've covered quite a lot, but at the same time, if I do have further questions, I will be in touch myself.
Okay.
But
Brilliant.
if anyone wants to now, just again pop any comments in the comment section, and if we don't get round to answering before we end the call, then we can just forward them on to Lara. And this is Lara's, obviously, her email address there if you want to get
Yes.
in touch.
Yeah, right down there.
Yeah, but yeah, we will we'll end it there.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Lara
Yeah.
and Chloe.
Thank you for
It's been a
having me.
pleasure.
It's like so much fun.
It's all right. Well, okay. Well, we'll be in touch soon. Okay.
Thank you. I hope you have a good rest of your day and